What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D and Duel commentary. We've got Satis for Life at the top, 1524, XX little XX, 1485. Now we know that Satis is playing his uber trolly, just Dark World artifact deck, and that what's it called? XX is playing, or we'll just say little X. He's playing Mermails. Now I believe on his first turn he opened with Pike. He discarded Dragoons. And then I think he probably got Diva from Dragoons. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. Satis tried to counter with Snow to try and just run over the the Pike, which Lil X activated Torrential Tribute. And now in battle phase he tries to attack with Armadas. Unfortunately, he gets hit with Artifact Sanctum. Murtek comes out, and that pops the Armadas. So now we are officially caught up. And it looks like during Satis' turn, he just attacked for 21, and now it's little X's turn. So I don't know if I would have went for Armadas in that situation. Like, if you already got Marksman, why not just attack with it? Marksman, if your opponent lets Marksman attack, I mean, you can get more monsters from your deck, and unless Dragoons is the only target, and he had already burnt Dragoons. So regardless, it looks like Lil X got Soul Charge. I think he's going to go for 4 here. I really do. Because you have to think, okay, these two right here can make Bahamut Shark, right? He only goes for 2. I'm a little surprised by that, especially considering if you make Armadas, right? Like, let's say you make Armadas, because if this gets Black Horn, then the fuck did you do? You didn't accomplish anything. But if you get Armadas, then this can't attack over Armadas. So, like, if you get Black Horn right now, you have an open field. Or if you just get Bottomless. But if you go for Armadas, yeah, your opponent can Bottomless all 3. But assuming they don't have Bottomless, if you get Black Horn, you still have you still have field presence. And your opponent still has to get over that. So we see yet another Artifact Sanctum flipped. And Bahamut Shark is going to get blown up by another Murtek. And Satis's Trolly Dark World artifact deck right now is rolling. And that's why I thought that he should have gotten Armadas too, because okay, yeah, your opponent can Pilates it back, but you can't just assume that all 5 of these cards, like, there's no traps among them. You know what I mean? Now your opponent has an open field. All they have to do is just attack and win. I felt like it was worth the extra 1,000. To be completely honest, I would have rolled everything that I had on that Soul Charge. I probably would have went for 5. So I would have paid 3,000 more. I just would have been at like 900 life points. I'm a high roller like that. I feel like Soul Charge is one of those win or lose type cards. You know, he could have gotten back Armadas. He could have gotten back Diva. Diva and Armadas makes Black Rose. You could have nuked the field. Shit, right? Okay, so he goes for Undyne. Undyne pops a Marotech. And they just passes, which honestly I'm expecting him to get. I can't say OTK because he has 39 life points. I don't expect for him to get another turn because we haven't seen any of the Dark Worlds. We haven't seen Satis use any of his Dark Worlds yet. And then with 4 cards in his hand, I'm kind of expecting some Dark Worlds to come down. So we see Snow, which means he's probably a little desperate if he's just normal summoning Snow. But I mean, whatever, doesn't really matter as long as you get the job done, right? Snow attacks for 1,700. And this is kind of it's kind of sloppy. Alright, we see Salvage. And if Little X has any hope of winning this duel, he has to make his stand right here and now. You've got Marksman and you've got Heavy Infantry. You need to make your play right here. In fact, I think you need to make enough advantage. You need to put the game state in a position to where Satis cannot come back. Because if you don't, I don't think you're going to win this duel. Now, if this is an artifact monster, bad things might happen. You see he plays Marksman. I mean, he's going to get his Teus regardless. Okay, it's a Malevolent Catastrophe, which I didn't know he main decked. That's incredible. He gets Gundy. Now, if he has another way to trigger this Gundy, he's in really good shape. Okay, and yes, he does. He has Turge. Turge pitches Gundy to add what back to the hand? Now, Turge only gets... No, Turge can get any level 3 or lower water monster. So Turge can actually get back the Turge can actually get back the Atlanteans. And he gets Pike. Okay. Pike discards. Oh, wow. He ran it back. He ran it back because he knew that Pike was going to discard, Pike discarded heavy infantry. Heavy infantry was going to blow up Maratek. He was going to be able to go into any rank 4 that he wanted. And, I mean, let's be real, Snow didn't stand a chance. So, Little X played very conservative in that duel. I didn't like he played that conservative, but you know what? He ran it back. He got the job done. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. Sadis looks like he wants to immediately jump back into to dueling, and Little X is obviously thinking, no, actually he's not thinking. He jumps back into it. I mean, these are both decks that are completely graveyard based. In fact, when you look at a deck like Dark World, right? If you add artifacts into the deck, all you do is make your deck even more graveyard reliant, right? So, you know, these are two decks where we're not going to see a lot of DD Crow. I mean, we're not going to see any macros. We're not going to see Soul Drain. Not going to see any Defissure. So, the only anti-graveyard cards we might see are, you know, a Debunk, a DD Crow, a Skullmeester here and there. But we're not going to see any pure lockdown cards, in my opinion. Thus, this should still be a deck or a duel that kind of moves at a quick pace. So you see that Sadis he's about to play Drag now, and that's obvious. He has to end up discarding, or he has to end up playing a Gates over his Gates, because he opened up with 2 Gates, which is kind of a desperate play, but I mean, he'll get 2 draws out of it. I don't know if I like that play. He's going to take a card out of his opponent's hand, which is Soul Charge. It's uber powerful and Mermail. Now, Sadis got his 2 cards that he wanted. I mean, now he can activate Gates, assuming he drew another Dark World, which it looks like he did. Oh, he drew the Dark World he needed. Shit. He got Snow right on time. So not only does he get a draw, but he gets to look in his deck for another card. Not to mention, he kind of knows what his opponent has because he just saw his entire hand. So, you know, he could easily wait for a Grapha use or something. He decides he's going to play Dark World Dealings. Okay, he discards Grapha. Little X discards Megalo. I was going to say, I mean, if you want to get Grapha on board, okay, then sometimes you have to give up the pop to do it. You see that Sadis sets another card in his back row. He has Brow in hand and Grapha on board with 3k attack. Little X is kind of under the gun right here. I think that first order of business needs to be taken out the gates. Okay, so, we did actually see a debunk. Turn 1. Abysseus was summoned by pitching heavy infantry. It got debunked. He does take out the gates. That was smart. Because you're not going to get rid of Grapha. Unless you pop it plus somehow kill Brow in the process too. But I felt like that was the best play that he had. You see he walls up with 3 cards in the back row. It's odd. We haven't seen an Abyss Sphere yet, have we? That's a little strange. So Sadis is going to attack for 27. And man, Lil X has to eat it. Play goes back to Little X. And he just passes turn. He hasn't played anything. He's got those 3 cards in his back row, and you're kind of wondering what they could be. Okay, so he does have an Abyss Sphere. Okay. He does. Sadis chains Artifact Ignition onto Abyss Sphere. You know, the what's it called? The Sanctum would have worked there too, but I think there's more advantage to be made with the Ignition because Ignition sets up your field even further. Either way, Little X he's in bad shape right now. Not only does Salas have a Maratek in his back row that's locked and loaded, he has a way to trigger it with, he has a, what's it called? Yeah, he has a way to trigger it because he can obviously go for, Artifact Sanctum at any point. And then he can obviously go for the red artifact, Bag Attack, and then he can pop Maratek. He tried to use Dark Smog to start banishing stuff, but that was MST'd. He attacks into Lindy. Now, if you have a marksman, you know not to hit this card. Well, actually, it's your opponent's turn, so maybe this is the time to hit it. He goes for Turge, which I would imagine he's going to use an effect. Okay, so he discards Megalo to get back heavy infantry. I don't know about that. Because, again, you can kill Grapha, but you've got to definitively kill that card. If you just temporarily kill Grapha, you haven't really... Like, that's just a temporary solution to a very permanent problem. Alright, you see he's going to summon Pike, and I imagine he's going to pitch. Okay, so he pitches for Grapha, or he pitches the heavy infantry to pop Grapha. Now Satis is going to activate Sanctum. That will not stop Pike from searching, by the way. And you see that Pike gets his Undyne. And okay, he does what I thought he was going to do. He gets he's gonna get well, what exactly is happening here? I have no idea what's happening. Why is Linde in the spell and trap zone? Why is Genix Undyne? Okay, he wants to get Linde and not Undyne. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, so yeah, Big Attack is summoned from Sanctum, and now you know that Big Attack is going to pop the Margotech. Wow, double Margotech. Yo, please have Torrential Tribute. Please have Torrential Tribute. Please have Torrential Tribute. Okay, so Grapha's going to die, but it really won't matter if Margotech blows both of these cards up. And unfortunately for Lil X, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. You can debunk one, but you can't debunk them both, baby. So, yeah, one of them gets debunked. Now, it looks like Turge is going to die. I assume he wants to keep the monster in attack mode. With only Linde in his hand, yeah, Little X just has to pass. And actually, all he has to do is go into Pleiades. He doesn't even have to summon. He could just make Pleiades. He could bounce Pike to the hand, and then he could overlay for M7, and that's 2,700. His opponent was only at 26. So, Little X gets steamrolled in that duel. And a duel that has had huge momentum swings. I mean, game one was largely controlled by Satis, and then Little X made a huge push towards the end of the game, and it kind of won him the game. And then duel 2 was pretty much controlled by Satis. It's just Little X couldn't come back. He got Grapha on board, and Little X had no counter to it, and that was pretty much a wrap. I think Little X needs to try and make as much advantage as he can turn 1, like Undyne, drop Dragoons into the graveyard. Dragoons get you a Megalo plus a controller, maybe something like that. Okay, so you see that Lil X is going to set one monster, set 2 in the back row. Salis is probably going to set at least 3 cards because he's playing artifacts after all. He sets 3. Okay, he dragged down, obvious. So he's looking at Little X's hand, and what is he getting rid of? Oh, there goes Abystius. And what's he going to discard? He gets rid of Grapha. I'd go after the back row. I wouldn't pop the monster. One of the dirtiest plays in the game. Dragged down from the grave, I swear. He goes after the back row. Maybe it's Abyss. Oh, Soul Charge. Not a card I like setting. Not a card I like setting at all. Okay, so right now, this is, it's still 6-on-5, but you wonder if this is anything other than Linde, if Little X will be scared enough to flip it. And it is Linde, so at least he has protection from Margotech. So he attacks for 1,500. Oh, okay. Artifact Sanctum is flipped. Now you wonder maybe if he'll go Big Attack or if he'll go for... Okay, he goes for the simple Margotech, looking to pop Linde. Lindy's going to attempt the trigger. Again, at any point, either player could have used debunk and could have completely stopped their play. Whoa! So Salis isn't going to activate the effect to pop. That's interesting. I was going to say, all he's going to do is ram into it. Okay, so now he is deciding that he wants to use the effect to pop. Little X decides that he wants to get Megalo and that he's going to just simply try and attack. Now you wonder if he has another... No, Artifact Sanctum is once per turn, so that doesn't work. Okay, and he just loses his Margotech, and I don't think that was a very smart play there. I mean, you don't want to pop Linde of all things. And it looks like he just luck sacked his ass off. Not only did he get a Dark World monster, but he got one that he can summon. And I know for a fact that Satis for Life does run Silva. So he gets a Dark World monster in Brow. He's gonna use that to bounce for Grapha. And now he can run over Megalo. Now I wonder if Little X plays lead, because I mean I would have went for lead because I don't want to draw it, and plus it's just bigger. I mean, granted they both get ran over because he has gates on board. He actually needs to take 300 more because this guy is actually 3K and not 27. So Little X just sets a card. And I think that Cyrus is just going to keep attacking with Grapha. You see he plays Abyss Spear during the during the battle phase. I imagine he's going to go for Lindy again. Lindy in defense mode. Okay, so Grapha's going to attack Lindy. And what is he going to get this time? Everything in his deck. Ooh, never mind. He ain't getting nothing. He's getting debunked. That's what he's getting. So yeah, it looks like this is turning into a debunk war. So Little X needs to put Abystheus back in his deck because his Lindy got debunked. And it's really starting to show how much Mermail struggles with Grapha. Which, I mean, I know that sounds like an obvious statement. Like, I mean, what deck doesn't struggle with Grapha? Okay, so never mind. Debunk gets wiretapped. It's very rare you ever see wiretap in a Mermail deck. This is unconventional at its finest. So Debunk's going back into the deck. And he's still going to get Abystheus, but he needs to use it or lose it. Otherwise, Abystheus is just going to... It's going to get ran over by Grapha. It cannot stand up to a 3,000 attack. It just can't. And it looks like Little X is going to have to... He's going to have to kind of make that stand like he did in Game 1. I mean, granted, in Game 1, he was able to make a stand so strong that he came back and win the duel. But with 3 cards, you wonder if he can repeat it again. Now, obviously, if he has Soul Charge, whole duel changes. Because not only will he get Megalo, which would... I mean, Megalo allows him to go straight into a rank 7 XC and potentially try and steal the Grapha. But he can also get Lindy back to buy him some time. I mean, I think you'd have to risk it all. Now, I don't know if he has Soul Charge. It seems like he would have played it by now. But I don't know. If you were just, I mean, I don't really see a point in just getting Abystheus just to have it in defense mode. Like, if that was the case, then you should have just gotten something else. You should have gotten Pike or something like that. Something that could at least trigger. Alright, so you see he tries to activate Abyss Sphere. And it looks like it's successful. He goes for Lindy. Oh lord, he better hope he don't got another debunk. Maybe he should have just went for Megalo. Or, I guess Little X doesn't run lead. Either that or lead's in his hand. And that's really unfortunate if it's in his hand. Okay, so he takes 1,500 from the attack. He still owes his opponent 300 life points, by the way, from that first attack. He goes for Pike. It's kind of strange. Oh, that's what he was getting at. He was trying to get Title into the graveyard. The Title was in his hand. So now he's going to activate Pike's effect. Pike, you can get Gundy, right? Yeah, Gundy's level 3. 1 level 3 water monster. Wow, that's pretty much like everything. So that means you can get Lindy, you can get Undyne. Yeah, you can get Gundy. There you go. Okay, so he gets Gundy, which, I mean, anytime a Mermail player gets Gundy, you kind of have to, like, take a step back and be like, whoa, I need to counter, because Gundy's one of those cards to where you know that they're trying to do something big. What the fuck? Dude! What? Oh, what did we just see? Are we seeing Genix ally Birdman in a Mermail deck? Holy crap, I think he's going to try and Black Rose him. Anyways, Abystheus was returned. It looks like he does in fact go for a Black Rose. Now look, I think that these two are... I think that there's a high chance that these are artifact monsters though, because he hasn't activated them all game. And they happen to be both artifact monsters. However, check this. He does have Abystheus plus Title plus Gundy. He can actually potentially run this shit back. He just has to be kind of smart about it. This is gonna be a crazy ending, guys. That I can guarantee you. This ending, this just went from a duel that was like dragging on to like the hype meter just went up like 3 ticks. Because I imagine Abyssius is gonna be summoned using Gundy. Okay, so you know what? I'm not even gonna have to speak the play out because Little X is done thinking. He's gonna go for it. So he's going to trigger Teus. I wonder what he's going to get for Teus. That I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm not 100% sure what he's going to get for Teus. I mean, he could get Lindy, he could get Pike. I mean, Teus gets a lot of cards. Okay, so he gets Pike. Now it looks like he's going to try and trigger Gundy. And Satis doesn't have any responses for any of this. This duel is, I mean, granted, it's not like Lil X can win this turn, but he can try and do enough damage to where he's in a good position. You see that he gets Lindy, which I agree with that. And now you think that he's probably going to try and summon Tidal and go into a rank 7 Exceed. And I think he's probably going to go Dracosac and pop a card. You need to get rid of one of these. That's not even up for debate. You don't want your opponent putting Pilates on you. If Pilates is dropped on you, you're done. It's game over. I don't see Big Eye because you expect Satis to try and counter with a Grapha, which, I mean, we know that he has Brow in his hand and that he can just summon Brow, he can bounce, and that he can resummon Grapha, but okay, so he puts Dracosac in attack mode, which I completely agree with. And it looks like he's going to pop Maratek. He gets 2 tokens. One of them is going to be gone, so. The tokens look new. They look different than what they did under the old Dueling Network. He decides to leave Begatech on board. I guess he just wants the monster with the weaker attack. I guess he just doesn't want that as a threat. And then he plays Salvage. Holy shit! That was a great last card to have. And I think he's going to go, oh man. I wonder why he didn't go Teus and Gundy. Because he could have left Teus in the graveyard and removed the other Lindy. Teus Gundy is just, I mean, that's the combo that keeps on providing advantage, baby. Like, all you do is just, it's a 1-card pitch. So we see that Satis is going to, obviously he bounces for Grapha. And I think he's going to try and kill, oh, okay. He plays another Gate. So he attacks the token. He kills the Dracosac. Here's the problem, though. He does open himself up for Lindy crashing. And that's why I thought that he would have went Teus. He would have went Teus in Gundy. But I guess he knows something I don't. He does have Pike after all. But I just thought that maybe he'd want to be able to trigger Gundy without having to use his normal summon. So he goes Pike. He ditches Gundy. Pike's going to try and activate. Pike gets Genix Undyne. I was thinking maybe he could get, what's it called? Maybe he can get like heavy infantry. He needs to permanently cut off Grapha. If he is to win this duel, he needs to permanently cut off Grapha. That's the only way I see him doing that, or the only way I see him winning this duel. And I expect, well, I mean, this is gonna die regardless. Okay, so he reborns Abyssius back with Gundy's effect. It looks like he's gonna banish a couple of cards so that he can get Tidal back. And he could go for a second Dracosac here. Okay, he's going to banish the Black Rose, which, why wouldn't you? It's not going to do anything from the graveyard. Oh, except it gets banished. He debunked it. Now, assuming you have another level 3 in your deck, you can actually ram Lindy, and that's what I think he's going to do. He's going to eat a bunch of damage here, but he is going to be able to... I'd Big Eye that motherfucker. So Lindy is rammed. He's going to eat 1,500. Again, he still owes his opponent 300 life points. I'm just going to keep pointing that out until it becomes relevant. He goes for Megalo. I imagine Megalo's going to crash into this. And then I would make Big Eye and I would snatch steal the Grapha, because I don't even know if Satis even has any fiends in his graveyard. I don't even think he can use his gates. So that's exactly what he does. He snatch steals the Grapha using Big Eye. And oh my goodness, he just completely ran it back. Good shit from Low X. That was a that was a thoroughly entertaining match. Thank you guys for watching as always.